that is cryptozoites of the pre-erythrocytic cells enters into fresh liver cells and transform into trophozoite stage, which is a feeding stage, which feeds on contents of the liver and grows in size and enters into Schizon stage. In Schizon stage, schizogony takes place. What is schizogony? It is asexual multiple fission in which nucleus and cytoplasm divides. First, nucleus divides into many nuclear bits, and it is followed by the division of the cytoplasm. Cytoplasm also divides into many cytoplasmic bits. Each nuclear bit is surrounded by a bit of cytoplasm and forms metacryptozoites. These metacryptozoites, otherwise called second generation merozoites. Now these metacryptozoites, which are formed in exoerythrocytic cycle, are of two types. They are micrometacryptozoites and macrometacryptozoites. These metacryptozoites, which are formed at the end of exoerythrocytic cycle, they are nothing but second generation merozoites, are of two types. They are micrometacryptozoites and macrometacryptozoites. These micrometacryptozoites enters into RBC, that is erythrocytes, to start erythrocytic cycle. Next, macrometacryptozoites, which are large in size, enters into fresh liver cells and continue exoerythrocytic cycle. Once again, I will repeat exoerythrocytic cycle. What is the product of exoerythrocytic cycle? That is metacryptozoite. It is otherwise called second generation merozoites. These metacryptozoites are of two types depending on the size. Okay, they are micrometacryptozoites, which are small in size, and another one is macrometacryptozoite, which is large in size. Okay. Next, micrometacryptozoite enters into RBC to start erythrocytic cycle, and macrometacryptozoite enters into fresh liver cells and continue exoerythrocytic cycle. Okay, this is about the exoerythrocytic cycle. And with that pre-erythrocytic cycle, exoerythrocytic cycle completed means hepatic schizogony explanation is completed. Okay. Next, this exoerythrocytic cycle is completed in 2 days, within 2 days. Okay. Next, what is pre-patent period? What is pre-patent period? The time interval between the first entry of Plasmodium. What is Plasmodium? It is a malarial parasite which causes malaria fever to the man. Okay. What is pre-patent period? The time interval between this pre-patent period is important for VSAQ also. Okay. The time interval between the first entry of Plasmodium into the blood of man in the form of sporozoite and second entry of Plasmodium into the blood of man in the form of cryptozoites is called pre-patent period. The duration of pre-patent period is 8 days. Okay, this pre-patent period is a means of multiplication of the parasite. In this pre-patent period, parasite increases in its number. There is no clinical symptoms of malaria takes place during pre-patent period. No clinical symptoms of malaria takes place in pre-patent period. What is pre-patent period? The time interval between the first entry of Plasmodium into the blood of man in the form of sporozoites and second entry of Plasmodium into the blood of man in the form of cryptozoites is called pre-patent periods. Its duration is 8 days. It is a means of multiplication of the parasite. There is no clinical symptoms of malaria takes place in pre-patent period. Okay, now I will show this pre-erythrocytic cycle and exoerythrocytic cycle in diagram. Okay, all of you look at the diagram. Okay, this is pre-erythrocytic cycle. This is pre-erythrocytic cycle and this is exoerythrocytic cycle. Okay, this is the blood vessel of man. This is the blood vessel of man and these are red blood corpuscles. These are red blood corpuscles. These hexagonal cells are liver cells. Liver cells otherwise called hepatocytes. Liver cells otherwise called hepatocytes. First we will discuss once again pre-erythrocytic cycle in diagram. Okay, all of you look at the diagram and listen properly. Okay, next this sporozoite stage. Sporozoite is the infective stage of Plasmodium to man, no? How this sporozoite enters into the liver cell of man when Plasmodium infected mosquito bites and sucks the blood of healthy man. What happens? These sporozoites, nearly 2000 sporozoites enters into the blood circulation of man through its saliva. Okay? Now these sporozoites, when enters into the liver cells, they transform into spherical shaped feeding stage called trophozoite. This trophozoite later feeds on liver substances and grows in size and becomes shy-joint Inside the shy-joint, what happens? Schizogony takes place. Division of the nucleus and division of the cytoplasm takes place, due to which nearly 12,000 cryptozoites are formed. Okay? Later what happens? The wall of the cryptozoite, the wall of the shy-joint, wall of the shy-joint and wall of the liver cell rupture. The wall of the liver cell and wall of the shy-joint rupture. So what happens? Cryptozoites are released into the liver sinusoids. These cryptozoites are released into the liver sinusoids. What is liver sinusoid? The empty spaces present between the liver cells is called liver sinusoids. Okay? Here due to schizogony, what happens? 12,000 cryptozoites are formed. Later, the wall of the shy-joint and wall of the liver cell breaks down, due to which what happens? Cryptozoites are released into the liver sinusoids. These cryptozoites have two options. Either they enter into the fresh liver cells to continue exoerythrocytic cycle, or they may enter into the RBC to start erythrocytic cycle. Now we will discuss this pre-erythrocytic cycle duration is 8 days. Now we will discuss about the exoerythrocytic cycle. According to diagram, I am going to explain you. Okay? Exoerythrocytic cycle means this cycle occurs outside the erythrocyte, that is in liver cells. Okay? The cryptozoites of the pre-erythrocytic cycle attacks new liver cells, and it transforms into trophozoite stage. Now this cryptozoite stage assumes spherical shape and transform into trophozoite stage, which is the feeding stage, which feeds on liver substances and grows in size and becomes shy-joint. Inside the shy-joint, schizogony takes place. Due to schizogony, what happens? Metacryptozoites are formed. Meta means after. Here, metacryptozoites are formed. These metacryptozoites otherwise called second generation merozoites. Now what happens? This shy-joint, wall of the shy-joint and wall of the liver cell rupture, due to which metacryptozoites are released into the liver sinusoids. These metacryptozoites are of two types: micrometacryptozoites, macrometacryptozoites. Micrometacryptozoites enters into the RBC to start erythrocytic cycle, and macrometacryptozoites attack fresh liver cells to continue exoerythrocytic cycle. This is about the exoerythrocytic cycle. Okay? Now we will discuss erythrocytic cycle. We already discussed pre-patent period also. Once again, I am repeating what is pre-patent period. The time interval between the first entry of plasmodium into the blood of man in the form of sporozoite and second entry of plasmodium into the blood of man in the form of cryptozoite is called pre-patent period. Its duration is 8 days. During this period, parasite increases in its number. Clinical symptoms of malaria does not take place in pre-patent period. With that, pre-erythrocytic cycle and exoerythrocytic cycles are completed. Now we will discuss erythrocytic cycle. Erythrocytic cycle which takes place in erythrocytes or RBC of man. This erythrocytic cycle which takes place in RBC of man was discovered by Camillo Golgi. Camillo Golgi. Hence, this erythrocytic cycle is also known as Golgi cycle. This erythrocytic cycle was discovered by Camillo Golgi. Hence, it is named as Golgi cycle. This Golgi cycle is also important for 4 marks question for IPE. Okay. Here, this erythrocytic cycle started either with the cryptozoites of the pre-erythrocytic cycle or by the micrometacryptozoites of the erythrocytic cycle. How this cycle was started? It is started either by the cryptozoites of the pre-erythrocytic cycle or micrometacryptozoites of the exoerythrocytic cycle. Okay, when this stages enters into the RBC of man, what happens? They transform into spherical shaped structures called trophozoite. Okay, when these stages enters into the RBC of man, they transform into trophozoite stage. Okay, in trophozoite stage, later in trophozoite stage, a vacuole is developed. A vacuole is developed inside the trophozoite stage. This vacuole grows in size and pushes the nucleus and cytoplasm to the peripheral region. Hence, this stage is called signet ring stage, which resembles the finger ring. Once again, I am repeating, this trophozoite stage develops a vacuole. This vacuole grows in size and pushes the nucleus and cytoplasm to the peripheral region. This is vacuole. In trophozoite, a vacuole develops. This vacuole enlarges in size and pushes the nucleus and cytoplasm to the peripheral region.